Relocations, the government copies the Florange law issued in France, which is a flop. Relocations, the government copies the Florange law issued in France, which is a flop. The company that leaves must only look for a buyer. If it does not find it, it's free without fines.
On the spur of the latest cases of multinationals that have fired workers to move production abroad, the Minister of Labour Orlando and the Deputy Minister of Development Todde prepare a decree inspired by the French law. But the results are unlikely to be better than those obtained with the 2014 Stability Law and the Dignity Decree, whose application was limited to transfers outside the European Union. In November 2020, that time Minister Patuanelli explained, the Florange law had a very limited impact. After the failure of the rules included in the Stability Law for 2014, and in the Dignity Decree of 2018, it is now the Draghi government that embarks on the undertaking of counteracting production relocations by law. According to the draft of the law, the Minister Andrea Orlando and the Deputy Minister Alessandra Todde intend to copy the Florange law, launched to respond to the escape of ArcelorMittal from the Moselle steel plant. But even that law, as the ex-minister Stefano Patuanelli acknowledged in the Senate last year, proved largely ineffective as a deterrent against multinationals that decide to move production elsewhere. Without an intervention by Brussels, moreover, the principles of freedom of enterprise and freedom of establishment within the European Union can only make unilateral attempts to fight competition of more attractive states for a fiscal and wage policy. The draft of the law provides for companies over a certain number of employees, 6 months' notice before the closure and the start of the dismissal procedure, the obligation to present a plan to mitigate the impact on employment and a reindustrialization process of at least 3 months during which a potential buyer must be sought. In addition to penalties equal to 2% of turnover for those who leave in the 3 years following the collection of public funds. If the sanctions, already provided for by the laws already in force, have turned out to be blunt weapons, as we shall see, the most obvious flaw concerns the reindustrialization procedure. This is demonstrated by the fate of the French Florange law, which applies only to over 1,000 employees but to which the Orlando Todde text is clearly inspired. The point is that the company that leaves may be obliged to look for a buyer, but not to find him. It is no coincidence that the French Constitutional Council's censorship has come close to this. In March 2014, the Council imposed on the government to transform what was a result obligation into an obligation of means, that is to say that it is enough to try to be in compliance and avoid fines. In short, the attempt by the Draghi government seems to have all the chances to fail, exactly like the previous regulations. In Italy, the first intervention on the matter dates back to 2013. When the obligation for companies wishing to go to produce elsewhere was included in the budget to return the public grants received in the previous 3 years.